Building houses and structures in general takes a while in Upland, especially if you don't have a ton of spark laying around. On top of that, Valentine's Day is upon us, and as far as the metaverse and businesses and all of that is concerned, we're going to start needing buildings to operate out of. So I thought, hey, it would be fun to use this as an excuse to see if we can find ourselves a new, already built home for us to add to the portfolio. Hey there, John Henry here, SSFTG. I hope your stacks are as tall as ever after the collection release in Los Angeles. If this is your first time here, welcome, my friend. I hope to earn your like and subscription today. Before we jump on in, it's been a few days, so let's take a look at some of the Street View submissions. If you have an amazing Street View that you want to share with the rest of us, make sure to drop yours in the comments below and I'll add it to the list. First one on the list comes from A Thought at 5949 Burchard Ave in LA. Only if you want to be a bad boy for life. That's right, Bad Boys. Coming to a theater near you, January 17. Sorry, I had to read it. Really funny. That's awesome. Plus, I mean, looking around, this is kind of a cool little spot, right? Dude, super massively confused by Google truck. Looks like a cool little garden area. But man, you gotta love the billboard right there as soon as you walk out, right? The next one comes from Naponimies, or Napo Minis. I'm sorry if I'm messing up your name. Thank you for the submission either way. 214 East 11th Street, Los Angeles in downtown. Some weird underground party with half-dressed women. So, obviously, before I loaded this picture up, I needed to make sure that I wasn't going to get demonetized or anything. I did check. It's totally fine. It's a kosher picture. Although, I have absolutely no idea what's happening here. This is like some, like underground party, or like they're recording a movie video or music video or something. It's just like all hazy and smoky. How did they get in here to get this picture, and how did this end up being the Google Earth photo? Like, who are these people, and why is there a bush in the middle of this empty room? I have so many questions. What an incredible submission. Thank you. The next one on the list is from Heather Ryan. Thank you for the submission as well. 22151 Clarendon Street. It's a cute little house that I wish I really had. I really love this style. It's kind of cool. One thing I'm finding, and maybe this is just because I'm from the East Coast. I live in Michigan. But this West Coast style of like having palm trees next to a pine tree is just so foreign to me. It looks like it's not supposed to happen. And the same thing can be said about the structure. The structures and buildings out here have such a cool style. I'm definitely in agreement with you. I really dig the look. And the location, by the way, really cool spot. The next one from Raul Morales. Thank you for the submission. You were able to snatch up 1925 Oceanfront Walk in Venice Beach. First off, what a view! Holy moly, this thing is bonkers, man. That's crazy. You got a view of literally everything. How did they even get this picture? This must be like a drone shot or something? What an awesome shot right on Venice Beach too. Incredible pickup. The next submission is from Warren Mullins. Thank you. Again, actually, there's two of them. You got Logan Paul's home in Encino. That's awesome. Maybe shoot him a message on YouTube. Let him know. Hey, I got your house in Upland. You interested? Maybe we can get some Upland publicity on that side, huh? But then also 1811 Bel Air Road, which is what you can see on the screen here. This is case study house number 16. Really, really cool that Upland highlighted this house in the first place. For those of you who don't know, this is the Salzman house. The Salzman house was built by architect Craig Elwood, and that was built in Bel Air, obviously, back in 1952 to 1953. Now, if you're not sure what the heck is going on, this is actually what it looks like on the outside. This is on purpose. On the outside, they have these gigantic glass fronts to protect it from the street, so you can't see in. Of course, if you want to read more about the Salzman house and the case study house number 16 and all that fun stuff, you can do more research on Google. But it's a really, really cool home built in a way that is just, considering this was built back in the 50s, I mean, totally different from the other styles that they were trying to do in the way that they were building. It's just incredible. And the fact that you were able to get a hold of it, really awesome. I love the fact that it looks like a giant flagpole, too. That's always kind of neat. Add on top of the fact that you were able to bag that in Bel Air with that exclusive collection now. Ooh, very nice pickup. Okay, let's get down to business and finding an already built home here. The first thing we need to do is find one, and that could seem like a relatively daunting task. Like you got to scroll around the screen hunting for one, but it really isn't that complicated. And you know me, there are tools that will do the work for us. This is where things like the UPEX Spark Exchange, you may formerly recognize this website as UP2-Data Hub. They did a big redesign and it looks absolutely incredible. But this is an amazing resource where you can find city metrics, data analytics, other analytics, and also finding pre-built homes on properties in an insanely easy way. Now, I did do a video on how to value your properties correctly in Upland, and I'll link that in the corner for you. And that goes over not only how to value properties, but what they're for and what they can be used for in the future, and why they're very interesting speculation plays. So let's find ourselves a house, shall we? First off, we can go through and we can click buildings in the top left, and I'm going to look for things that are under 50 bucks. I want to keep it within my budget in Upland, and I want to see how cheap they actually come in at. As far as the properties go, I don't want to buy in USD because I want to use my in-game UPEX for it. And you can also select whether or not it is in a collection. Being in a collection will definitely help it hold on to its value, but if we're looking at buying buildings, having it in a collection isn't necessarily the main purpose. It helps, but we're looking at this as a future play for metaverse homes, metaventure shops, etc. And having it in a collection doesn't necessarily matter too much from what I've seen. Having a shop in a collection zone and giving it boosts or something might be a cool concept as if Upland is watching. But, you know, as far as what we've heard so far, I don't believe that is a thing at this point. So we have to base it purely off of what these are going to bring to the table, and that is utility. And being in a collection doesn't really help that too much. Now, one thing that we can see very obviously right out of the gates, if we're looking for under $50, the cheapest house that we can find is $36,855. It's about $36.85, 86 cents. So in terms of pricing and the pricing structure, that's generally right around where we would expect them to land. And considering that the minting price of the land underneath it is only $1,500, that actually lands it pretty close. These are pretty fair value. I know the markup says it's incredibly marked up, but that isn't necessarily the case when you consider the amount of time it takes to build a home in Upland. So let's jump around to a couple of these locations and see if we can find something that we like. We've got a couple in Staten Island, and we already talked about how Staten Island was on a pullback on the weekend review. That might be a nice little opportunity to pick up some houses over in this area. All right, so all we have to do is take the address, bring it over to in the game, and here we can see, here is the property with the house on it. It is a very all-white property for $36,855. In terms of earnings, again, the earnings and the collection ratings and all that stuff is really kind of irrelevant. That part doesn't matter so much. We're more looking at what this brings as far as utility. And considering that this is at $36,855, it's a pretty cool house in terms of location. We can see, is it developed? Do we have open spots around us? Where are we? This is really the only house in this area for right now, and if we zoom out a little bit further, we can see that this is in Richmond Town in Staten Island. So it's not like it's in any massive location per se, but it is definitely in a zone of interest. Now, this property over here in Cicero is not actually bothering me too much. It's at $39,000, but the markup is what I like. It's only a 499% markup instead of some of these other 4,000% markups and all of those. This one's in Chicago, so as far as a zone of interest, that fits. Let's take a look at what this spot looks like. We'll drop that address in there, and let's jump on over into Chicago. It did go to the right place, which is always nice. And let's see what this area looks like here. All right, there's the house. So as far as the house is concerned, it looks like a nice little standard brick house. If we zoom out a little bit further, we can see, are there any other developments going on around us? There's another house that's built up a little bit further to the north. There's a couple things going on. And then we've got one last one, which is the lowest in terms of markup that I could find at 4338 North Lowell at $39,500. Again, the earnings are not as relevant, but being at $128.76 for spending $1,500 more than being at $22 is a pretty big difference in the long run. The house looks relatively similar. Let's zoom out a little bit here, see if there are any other developments. Ooh, okay. So now here is an area where we actually have quite a few other properties with houses on them. This person's selling theirs for $100. etc. So it is something to consider in terms of a zone of interest, given the cost, given what it brings to the table, and also given the anticipation of what's coming with meta ventures and everything else. This isn't a bad one at all. So like we've been talking about, one of the big things that Upland is missing is the utility to continue adding value to existing properties, aside from just the APY farming, right? Meta ventures and shops, player homes, cars, racing, etc. Brings that to the table in a big way. And having a place to operate out of is going to be very important when that starts hitting. Actually, I'm just going to quick jump over here. 13205 San Simeon Ave has one for 40,000 from ICEL007. But this one is a little bit different. This is a luxury ranch at only a 345% markup. Now that is definitely something that I'm a bit more interested in. So I'm going to pick this one up for 40,000. It's going to cost me 42,000 to buy, but given the luxury ranch on top of that, this is a really, really nice zone of interest. And as far as the price, that's hard to beat. All right, there we go. Now that one is mine. I'm definitely going to be picking that one up. That is a huge value play. Those luxury ranches are very difficult to build. I'm working on one right now. In fact, I had someone actually jump on and help me out with that one. Hang on a sec. Yeah, I'm building one as well, and you can see 272 days. Now, I don't have a ton of spark on this because I'm trying to build up my Venice properties at the moment, but this is the one that I was asking people, hey, if you have some extra spark laying around, throw it on here for me if you want to put it somewhere, because these take forever. Right, this one right here is something that I'm super pumped about, but shout out to Bezlos for helping me out on this one, because it takes 3,000 hours, spark hours, to build up those properties, and I was able to buy one for 40 bucks. That effectively saved me almost an entire year of building for 40,000 UPIX. It's pretty hard to beat. If you aren't in Upland yet but are interested in checking it out, click the referral link in the description. It gets you in the game with some starting UPIX, and if you decide to invest some cash into the game, you also get that monster 50% bonus to your first UPIX purchase with a cap of 50,000 UPIX. And because you use my link to register, you gain access to our exclusive USP properties listed on ssftg.com/upland. USP properties are properties that I set aside for folks who utilize the referral link to try to give you guys as much of an advantage as you can get. These are properties that I'm selling at 20% or more below minting price. Starting a new game is fun. Starting a new game with a huge advantage is even more fun. All right, well, now that we've added our Valentine's Day house to the list, I think we can say safely it's job done. Have an amazing time out there in the metaverse. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, suggestions for new videos, drop them in the comments below. I always love hearing from you guys. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, we'll see y'all then.